Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of Raw Politics. It is my belief that you're fine wherever you are. I'm also okay. Edwin Sifuna, the senator for Nairobi, is not a changed man. He's still the same guy who used to, quote, speak for Raila, even though most of the time what he said was contradicted by Raila himself. Do you remember when the so-called Gen Zs were on the streets in June of 2024? Edwin Sifuna was very vocal, supporting them and chanting Ruto must go louder than even the so-called Gen Zs themselves. He was saying this as if it was Raila Odinga's position, that by the virtue of being the secretary of the party, he was speaking for the party and, of course, the party leader. What followed was totally different because Raila Odinga said he wasn't supporting the anarchy by the so-called Gen Zs. He preferred dialogue instead. In fact, it put Edwin Sifuna in a very bad position. The so-called Gen Zs that had been celebrating him started attacking him because now he had to read the official position of ODM, that ODM was not supporting demonstrations, rather they were calling for dialogue. People talk. Let's air our issues without going this route of destruction. That is not enough. Sifuna, after a while, made it very clear that even though Raila Odinga and the party was calling for dialogue, there is no way the party was going to work with William Ruto. That was a no-go zone. That is something Raila Odinga couldn't do. The other time, we saw broad-based government and members of ODM were included in government. Sifuna said that those people went there on their own, that it was not something that was sanctioned by the ODM party, let alone the party leader. He said that was not him speaking. Raila Odinga was categorical that he didn't support the formation of broad-based government. But what followed? Raila Odinga said, we support the broad-based government. We have donated our experts there. As if that is not enough, Sifuna said, okay, fine, we are working with Ruto, but not all of us. It is not the official position of ODM. We don't have an official working agreement or an MOU with UDA. So these people are there. We are going to support them as a party, but it is not an official working relationship. The next thing we saw was Sifuna reading the MOU between ODM and UDA. But Sifuna never stopped there. He would go to this TV or the other TV and say that according to him, the MOU was dead because William Ruto did not do 1, 2, 3. After a while, Sifuna would find himself also watching from TV as ODM confirmed that they are going to work with William Ruto till 2027. Sifuna has not changed. Why? Because even the funeral of Raila Odinga, what did Sifuna say? That Raila Odinga's last instructions was that ODM was going to field a candidate. What Raila Odinga said, which all of us watched, all of us heard, was that ODM as structures, when the time comes to decide whether to support Ruto in the 2027 elections, they will use the ODM party organs. But at that particular time, all they had agreed was that they were going to stay with William Ruto till 2027. But I've also told you what Raila said, even a toddler could interpret it that it meant they were going to endorse William Ruto's re-election. And this is what I mean. If you're going to support William Ruto till 2027, 2027 is the year of election. Does it make sense that ODM will be working with William Ruto till 2027, then suddenly wake up and field a candidate? Everybody knew that Raila was simply saying, we are going to endorse William Ruto. And I've even told you that Raila Odinga made an explicit proclamation on this during the funeral of the late Dr. Phoebe Asio in Homa Bay. He said that when 2027 comes, they, that is him and William Ruto, will tell Kenyans what they have managed to achieve. And then the opposition will also say theirs. And he was confident that Kenyans will see what they have done and give them more time past 2027. That is Raila Odinga verbatim, ladies and gentlemen. You can just search for Raila Odinga's speech at Dr. Phoebe Asio funeral, and you will watch Raila Odinga saying that at the end of the day, they will tell Kenyans what they have done. That is Raila Odinga. So he made it clear that they are in government and they are going to endorse Ruto for re-election. But Sifuna wants you to believe that the last marching orders from Raila Odinga was that we don't support William Ruto, that ODM as a party and the Luo community in general should prepare for a candidate. So who is this candidate that ODM is going to field come 2027? We don't know whether it is that Sifuna himself. But what I was saying is that Sifuna has not changed. Sifuna is still the same guy who believes that he speaks, he understands Raila better than Raila understood himself, and still wants to speak for Raila Odinga, even though everybody else knows that he is lying. He says that ODM will field a candidate. ODM does not support William Ruto. There is no agreement to support William Ruto. So fine, Sifuna has been consistent against William Ruto, but he has also been lying against the position of ODM and that of Raila Odinga. So what should he do now that Raila Odinga is no more? Because he can't go on claiming that he speaks for Raila Odinga when Raila Odinga is no more. He has said that the last statement by Raila Odinga was this and that. And I have told you that was a big lie. Raila Odinga, he never even said so. But what should he do now? In this video, what I want to share with you is what is the best move for Edwin Sifuna now that Raila Odinga is not in the picture. Ladies and gentlemen, if you're already finding value from this video, consider subscribing, and also don't forget to like this video and share it with friends. I am telling you that Sifuna is in a very dangerous place, politically speaking. And let me explain why. You see, the other day Sifuna was complaining that Rigathi Gachagua, by calling them projects of William Ruto, is making it difficult for them to join the one-term team. He's really eager to join the one-term team by Rigathi Gachagua, but Rigathi Gachagua is having this gatekeeping. I'm quoting him. You can also find that video where he's complaining that Rigathi Gachagua and other people have the gatekeeping, calling them projects instead of embracing them and allowing them to join the one-term team. So he is that open that he does not want William Ruto to be re-elected, and is willing to work with Rigathi Gachagua to the point that he is now crying of being isolated or being left out of the team, of the one-term team. According to Sifuna, ODM is supposed to join the Rigathi team. That is what he believes in. And at the back of his mind, he is persuaded he can achieve this. And that is where I see the danger. Because you see, while Raila Odinga would have been sympathetic to Edwin Sifuna, having known him for long, the people who are going to be leading ODM moving forward won't care who Sifuna is. Getting rid of Edwin Sifuna will not be a challenge for them. They will get rid of Edwin Sifuna from the party leadership and may even expel him from the party itself. So that is why I'm saying he's in a very dangerous place. If he thinks that things can go on the way they were under Raila Odinga, when Raila Odinga was still there, where he would misspeak or he would go out of turn, but Raila Odinga would sanitize it with it is his democratic right. This time round, what you saw even at the funeral, after Sifuna had spoken, people still stood there and said the position of ODM is that we are in government and we are going to support Ruto. After he had spoken, after he had given the so-called position of ODM as the Secretary General, he was still dismissed by the subsequent speakers, people who ranked higher than him in ODM. So now that they know that his heart and soul is with Wamunyoro, it will give them every justification to get rid of Edwin Sifuna. The challenge, the reason as to why I was also saying he is in a dangerous place, Edwin Sifuna, unlike other rebels, is not somebody who has been elected because he is popular. I repeat here, and you can prove me wrong, Edwin Sifuna even though he was the Secretary General of ODM, went to vie in Kandui to compete in a nomination in Kandui, in an ODM nomination. Remember, he had been ODM SG for a while then, yet he still lost. It was so pathetic that Edwin Sifuna had to come back to Nairobi and beg to be handed over the ticket of ODM so that he could contest for Senate. That is how bad it was. He contested for Senate. Direct ticket, you should know. It was as if it is an affirmative action. So it's not somebody with a base. It's not somebody with who was elected because people have always loved him all along. It was because of his association with Raila Odinga and the fact that these people were voting for ODM as a party. If Sifuna was to be kicked out of ODM or to be moved from the SG, he will have no value politically to even Rigathi Gachagua. Because now the reason as to why he might have value to the Rigathi Gachaguas of this world is because he's causing conflict within ODM. He is misspeaking. He is an agent of diversion or distraction, if you may, in the party. The chairperson and the party deputy leaders will say this, or the party leader, the new party leader would say this. Edwin Sifuna would say the exact opposite. The current party leader, Oburu Odinga, when he was meeting delegates from Luo Nyanza, he said that Raila Odinga left us in government. And that is where we are going to stay. He was talking about ODM and the Luo people. Sifuna, who is the Secretary General of the party, is saying contrary. He's saying we are going to field a candidate. But at the same time he's chanting we are going to field a candidate, that same Sifuna is dying to support the one-term group. He is saying we don't even need an agenda. And he said when he was doing an interview with Devon Okwara, that he is supporting the one-term group fully. Is behind them. Anything that gets rid of Ruto, he would support. So it's not like Sifuna wants to see ODM fielding a candidate. What Sifuna wants is ODM, and not just ODM. He is categorically interested if Luos can join with Rigathi Gachagua and help get rid of William Ruto. Because without that, also it is impossible to get rid of William Ruto. That is why I was saying Sifuna's value to the Wamunyoros and crew is his position in ODM. But that position is not very tenable. He may not last in that position for long if he continues to speak out of turn. Why? Because the people who now run ODM may not have the patience Raila Odinga had. He might find himself out of the party leadership or even the party itself, and then he will have no value. So what should Sifuna do? If I was Edwin Sifuna, now that Raila, who would protect or excuse my outburst, is no more, I would toe the line. Meaning, I would embrace what Raila Odinga said, that ODM is in government till 2027. I would embrace that. I would say I was seeing things differently. I was lost. That is how I misunderstood Raila, but now I'm seeing the position of ODM is that we are working with Ruto till 2027. Having said that, I would have been absorbed back. I wouldn't be seen as a rebellious SG. That way, I would have saved my position as the SG and then try my best to get the nomination to defend my Senate seat. That is what I would do if I was Edwin Sifuna. Not this other drama. I would purely be strategic. Learn or read the mood of the House. ODM under Oburu is not ODM under Raila Odinga. ODM, where Gladys Wanga and others have more say, is not ODM that Raila Odinga was the last option. In this case, it is very easy to vote Edwin Sifuna out of the leadership and even out of the party. And then he will have nowhere to run to. Because as you heard him crying, the Wamunyoros are calling him, for purposes of strategy, a Ruto project that is being brought to try and destroy them. But of course, Wamunyoros know his value is in ODM as an agent of chaos or somebody who is causing division therein. Ladies and gentlemen, I would have spoken and spoken and spoken. I always like Edwin Sifuna and the likes of Babu. These young leaders, I like them. And that is why I take my time most of the time to share what I would have done in their position. Now, this does not mean that I know better than they do. No, I'm just sharing my opinion. If you agree, you can let me know in the comment section. If you disagree also, we have a conversation. You say what you think. There are people who think whatever Sifuna is doing will pay off. I believe it won't pay off. That is my belief. Without Raila to protect Sifuna, I don't think Sifuna is safe. He is walking on very, very dangerous grounds, if you ask me. So what I would do, I have told you. I would toe the line. Swallow my pride, toe the line. Be the SG of ODM and enjoy the power that comes with that. Ladies and gentlemen, that is what I wanted to tell you. If you found value, like I said, let me know in the comment section below. And also, don't forget to like this video and share it with your friends. Otherwise, if you want to know why I believe that Sifuna is regarded as spokesperson in ODM, watch this video.